Okay. Something, this is just a page. I think I may have shown you this already. Milton Green, Great Falling Away Today. Great book. You can find this on Amazon. Where is it here? The powers of darkness and how they control men through their thoughts. Pretty interesting here. Satan is the god of this world. You see that in 2 Corinthians. Since the way of Satan and the way of the flesh is the same, or the way of the selfish nature. Okay, let me see that again. Since the way of Satan and the way of the selfish nature is the same. Once again, we are aligned and in agreement with Satan's nature. Okay? We talked about this in the previous video. The powers of darkness are continually directing the hearts of the people in the world towards selfishness, which is fairly easy to do. It's our nature. Satan uses them as puppets, keeping their minds and hearts occupied with selfish ambition and the things of this present world. Satan leads the whole world to practice sin and rebellion towards God. Okay? If we stay in this selfish state, we're in rebellion towards God. He wants us in a line with Jesus, selfless. The people of the world welcome thoughts and suggestions for the powers of darkness, such as anger, unforgiveness, hate, envy, lust, jealousy, greed, pride, and revenge. There's a verse in here in the Bible. I think it's also in Corinthians. Your thoughts are not your own. Okay, we're getting people may not be aware of the spiritual realm that is around them and the battle that is going on. The battle that is going on is right here. Okay, it's not about stopping the Muslims or devil worshippers or. It's up here. Here's where they're attacking us. Okay, that's the battlefield. When you get anger, unforgiveness, hate, envy, you have to understand where these things come from. Everyone walks and talks like his master, Satan. You will know them by their fruits. However, the Spirit of God leads Christians to take all these selfish thoughts captive. Now think about that. That's actually a paraphrase of another verse that's in the Bible. Why does the Spirit of God lead Christians to take all these thoughts captive? All right. Well, obviously there's something else going on there. Well, this is a need. We have to take this. When the thought comes into my head, I have to take it captive. Make sure it's not something that exalts itself in disobedience to the Word of God, which is God leads Christians to take all these selfish thoughts captive that exalt themselves against the Word of God in order to walk in loving obedience to Christ. If I'm going to make that transition that I talk of, be transformed from selfish to selfless, I have to hold each thought captive, okay, before I get angry with someone, before I hold unforgiveness for someone or resentment. I have to say, wait a minute, this is going to halt my transition from selfish to selfless. These are selfish thoughts. Unforgiveness, anger, this sort of thing, revenge, all this. These are selfish thoughts to be held captive and dealt with accordingly. Satan and the powers of darkness have the whole world seeking success, power, control, beauty, greed, selfish ambition, name, and reputation. Everyone deceives his neighbor in order to seek these selfish interests for himself. He seldom considers the needs of others, nor his Creator, because of his selfish motives. Therefore, the whole world is under judgment and the wrath of God. The sentence of death rests upon each person in the world. With every act of rebellion toward God and his neighbor, the powers of darkness are able to build stronghold upon stronghold, fortress upon fortress, until he is destroyed. Until a person is destroyed. Someone who's selfish. This judgment comes upon him because he loves the nature of Satan and hates his neighbor. Or it may not love the nature, loves his selfish nature. It can be said just as easily. And hates his neighbor. Rather than loving the nature of God, selfless, so he can also love his neighbor. He walks in spiritual ignorance and spiritual darkness because he does not seek with his whole heart the one who created him. God permits the heart of every man to be tested. The next time the world comes at you and you have a reason to be angry, unforgiving, revengeful, the list. You're being tested. God permits the heart of every man to be tested from morning until night. The powers of darkness tempt his heart against his neighbor, or entice his heart with the things of this world. Satan will remain his master as long as he does not come to receive wisdom and knowledge from God so he can walk in love. Without the wisdom of God, he will remain in ignorance and be destroyed in spiritual darkness. It's about Milton Green, great book. Because we're born with that selfish nature, we're easily manipulated. Now, some people say, "Oh, I don't believe in spirits." These things. This is crazy. No one's got control of my thoughts. Okay, if you believe that, you believe that. The Bible tells us otherwise. Okay, we have to hold every thought captive. I had a situation last night where, I had a heck of a time with it. But that's the battle that we have. The world comes at you. Okay, like it says, you are tempted day and night. And it's not necessarily tempted to murder, steal, or, just to think these thoughts. See, we have to control that, because the words that come out of our mouth are going to get us into trouble. And so I had a situation last night where I just had to keep my mouth shut. Okay. Hopefully that made some sense. We're being preyed upon because our nature is in line with Satan. It's easy for the powers of darkness to prey upon us and to manipulate us. And as long as they're doing that, we're not making the transition from selfish to selfless, to be like Jesus. Hopefully that makes sense. Love you. God bless.